my name is Carrie, and I'm a PhD student at the University of Rhode Island Graduate School of Oceanography. And we're here today at Worden Pond in Rhode Island to demonstrate how to set up passive air samplers and passive water samplers, which is something we've been doing on the Great Lakes. So the first thing that's very important is to always wear gloves when you're handling the samplers. So often we'll send out a field link with the samplers to kind of get an idea of any contamination that might exist from the setup process, from handling, and just from transport. So what you would do with a field blank, you take it out of the bag. And then you would just unwrap the foil. And you want to briefly handle this the way that you would handle one of the samplers. So usually I would just unwrap it, briefly handle it. You should never really have to touch the samplers very much, kind of just as sparingly as possible. And then I usually just go ahead and leave this in its package open while I set up the other samplers. And then that will be coming back with you. You won't be leaving that at the site. So to set up our air samplers, first we need to take our bowl, which has a hole in the top, and we run a rope right through that hole. And now we want to make a loop in the rope inside of the bowl. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. Okay, so now if you were to hold the bowl like this, as you can see, it's kind of just held steady, and inside there's a loop. Okay, so now you can leave the bowl upside down and you can attach your samplers. So I'm going to go ahead and grab my sampler out. I usually just grab it by the wire. And make sure you fully extend the wire. And you're going to kind of make a loop or a semicircle with the sampler so that it goes around the outside of the bowl. And then you'll secure it using the wires. And you can just wrap those around the rope. Okay, so when you've done that, you just turn it upside down and make sure that it stays in there, and that it's kind of situated so that there's airflow around the sampler. And then all you need to do is go ahead and hang this up securely, and you'll be done. So the most important thing is just to make sure that there's not much free slack in the rope, so that the sampler can't blow around in the wind, especially if you're at a really windy site. So you would just want to wrap this and then tie a knot. And this bowl is here to protect the samplers from sunlight and rain. So you want to make sure that it stays kind of vertical and it doesn't tilt like that or anything. And you can see the sampler that's inside there.
Okay, now we're going to recover the sampler. What we want to do is, depending on what's easier, you can leave the sampler up and just remove the sampler from it, the passive sampler, or bring the whole thing down and bring it to some place where it's easier to work on. So I'm just going to take it down. Just untie it. Take it down and then put on the gloves before handling the passive sampler. The foil that I used before that it came in, we'll want to put it back into the same foil. It's special. It was cleaned, the foil was cleaned by heating it to 450 degrees for overnight. And so it's very clean on the inside. The outside, we don't care if the outside gets dirty. So just open it up as a pouch. Take it off, and then we don't want the wire back. The wire is more likely just to be puncturing the aluminum foil. So you can just take it, strip it off, throw this away someplace appropriate. And there, it's all safe. And on this field form, it is already filled, we've already filled out the sampler number on it, who you are. If that changes, if somebody else is retrieving rather than putting it out, you can scratch out the address. But we'll want, the main thing that we want is a location of where it was deployed and the date that it was deployed and the date that it was retrieved. And then so you just put that. So you can just take it out. And if you have any other field notes that you think that would be important, just feel free to write up here anything that would help us when we go to analyze. You put that in. Put that in. And it's a lot easier if you don't seal the top. Just put the bag in and fold it over. Okay, now we're going to show you how to deploy a water sampler. You take a section of rope. We have a shackle here because it's what we could find around the lab, and actually any weight would do. But this is about the right weight, and so you just tie it so it's like that. And depending on how deep the water is, you may want to adjust the depth of the samplers. You just put a loop in the rope. Let that sit for a second. And remember, put on gloves so that we can keep everything clean. And you take the sampler that's in the foil, just undo the end so that you can reach in and get it with the gloves on, and close it back up again to keep the inside clean. Open it up and make it into pretty much a loop, and have it opened as much as you can so that there'll be good contact with the water. And just take the wire, wrap it around. Okay, now we can just walk out onto the dock and deploy it.
Right, okay.
Yeah. Good. And then just tie it off. Okay, now we're going to retrieve the water sampler, which is pretty much like the air sampler. Just go ahead and untie it. Bring it in. And I'm going to carry it to a more convenient location to actually handle the sampler. And at this point, there's no need to be wearing the gloves because I'm not touching that. When we actually recover the plastic, then Kerry will be wearing the gloves to do that. Okay, undo the wire and then just, hopefully, strip the sampler off of it.
Really touchy so much probably, but there we go.
Oh, there's a snag in the middle, yeah. Okay, then you have to do that.
Wrap it up.
And then put it back into the foil that it came from. And in the plastic, and then afterwards you'd write the date and the time on the retrieval form.